Olivia Carter had the perfect life, until the morning a text shattered it all. Her husband Jason and her best friend Samantha were having an affair. But instead of crying, Olivia smiled. Because she wasn't just a scorned wife, she was the silent architect behind Jason's empire. No. He's taking it all. This isn't just revenge. It's a rebirth. And Olivia Carter is about to show the world what happens when you betray the wrong woman. The scent of freshly brewed coffee filled the Carter household as Olivia Carter set the breakfast table, humming softly to herself. Sunlight streamed through the wide glass windows, casting a golden glow over the polished marble floors. Today was supposed to be a good day. Her husband Jason had been distant lately, but she had convinced herself that it was just work stress. He was a successful businessman, constantly surrounded by high-profile investors and executives. And yet something in her gut told her something was off. Still she had ignored it. She adjusted the neatly folded napkin on the table, her heart swelling with warmth as she thought about how far they had come. 15 years of marriage. A beautiful home. A life people envied. Then her phone buzzed. A text from her best friend, Samantha. "Liv, we need to talk. Urgent. Come to my place." Olivia frowned, a sense of unease creeping in. Samantha never sent messages like that. They shared everything, but this felt different. She grabbed her coat and keys, her heart pounding for reasons she couldn't explain. But nothing could have prepared her for what she was about to walk into. The moment Olivia stepped into Samantha's penthouse, she felt it. The tension, the undeniable weight of something about to break. And then she saw them. Samantha. Together. Her husband sat on the edge of Samantha's couch, looking guilty as hell, while Samantha, her best friend, stood beside him, arms crossed, looking far too composed for what Olivia was processing. The air turned ice cold. "Olivia," Jason started, standing up. Don't," Olivia cut him off, her voice eerily calm. "Tell me I'm misunderstanding this." Samantha sighed, brushing a lock of hair behind her ear. "Liv, we didn't want you to find out like this." Olivia let out a breathy laugh. A hollow, disbelieving laugh. "You didn't want me to find out like this?" she repeated, shaking her head. "So how were you planning to tell me, Sam? Over brunch? Maybe while we got matching manicures?" Jason took a step closer. "Liv, listen." "How long?" Olivia snapped, her gaze shifting to her husband. Silence. Samantha bit her lip. 6 months, she finally admitted. Olivia staggered back as if physically hit. 6 months. Her husband and her best friend had been sneaking around behind her back for 6 months. She clenched her fists, trying to hold back the wave of pain threatening to consume her. Jason sighed. "Liv, I didn't mean for this to happen." She turned her piercing gaze toward him, her voice dangerously low. "You didn't mean for this to happen?" she repeated. "Did you trip and fall into her bed?" Neither of them answered. And that's when Olivia knew they weren't sorry. They weren't regretful for what they did. They were only regretful that she had found out. Something inside her snapped. She wouldn't break. She wouldn't cry. No, she would do something better. Jason had chosen Samantha. Now it was time for Olivia to choose revenge. The calm before the storm. Olivia didn't fight. She didn't beg. Instead, she smiled. A slow, chilling smile that made Samantha's confidence waver and Jason shift uncomfortably. "Congratulations," Olivia said smoothly. "I hope you two are very happy together." Then she turned on her heel and walked out, leaving them in stunned silence. But what they didn't know was that Olivia Carter wasn't walking away in defeat. She was walking away to plan their destruction. Olivia Carter drove home in silence. Not a single tear fell. Not a single sob escaped her lips. No. Tears were for the weak. She had given Jason 15 years of her life. She had trusted Samantha like a sister. And in return, they had betrayed her in the cruelest way possible. Fine. If they wanted to stab her in the back, she would show them what it meant to be truly betrayed. As she pulled into her driveway, she pulled out her phone and made a single call. "David," she said smoothly. "I think it's time we talk about that deal you offered me." The person on the other end chuckled. "I was wondering when you'd call." A slow smirk formed on Olivia's lips. Jason and Samantha had no idea what was coming. 3 weeks later, Jason walked into his office with a self-satisfied grin. Olivia had barely reacted when he left. No screaming, no breakdown, no begging. If anything, she had seemed fine. It was almost too easy. Now he was free to be with Samantha. Free from the expectations of a perfect wife. But his arrogance was short-lived. The moment he stepped into his corner office, his assistant rushed toward him, panic all over her face. "Mr. Carter," she exclaimed, shoving a stack of documents into his hands. "It's bad. Really bad." Jason frowned, flipping through the pages. And his blood ran cold. His company, the business he had spent years building, was under financial attack. Massive withdrawals. Client losses. Stock drops. And at the center of it all, Olivia Carter. Jason's fingers tightened around the papers. She had been planning this. He rushed to his desk, dialing his lawyer. "I need you to find out what Olivia did," he growled. "And how to stop her." But it was already too late. She had played her hand. And she had played it well. Samantha sat in the penthouse she once adored, sipping a glass of wine and scrolling through social media. The comments under her latest picture were brutal. "Homewrecker. Disgusting. Karma's coming for you." She rolled her eyes. People were dramatic. She had always believed Olivia was weak. That she would accept what happened and fade into the background. But then her phone rang. "Sam, it's bad." Jason's voice came through, tight with frustration. Samantha sighed. "Jason, relax. It's just a scandal. People forget about these things in a week." Jason exhaled sharply. "It's not just a scandal, Sam. It's Olivia." Her blood ran cold. "What do you mean?" she asked hesitantly. Jason's silence was heavy. "She took everything, Sam." Samantha's grip on her phone tightened. "What do you mean everything?" Jason let out a humorless chuckle. "My company. My accounts. My connections. She owns them now." Samantha's stomach twisted. "She's ruining us," Jason said darkly. "And we never even saw it coming." For the first time, real fear settled into Samantha's chest. She had thought Olivia was weak. She had been dead wrong. Olivia sat in her new office, the one that used to belong to Jason, crossing her legs as she listened to the financial advisor list all the assets now under her control. "Shall we move forward with the acquisition?" the advisor asked. Olivia swirled the wine in her glass, a satisfied smirk playing on her lips. "Yes," she said smoothly. "Let's finish what we started." Jason had thought he could betray her and get away with it. Samantha had thought she could steal her husband and face no consequences. They were both about to learn what it meant to cross Olivia Carter. And this was only the beginning. Jason Carter had always believed he was the smartest man in the room. For years he had built his business from the ground up, securing lucrative deals, expanding his empire, and maintaining an image of a respectable businessman. But in just 3 weeks his entire world had begun to collapse. And all of it led back to one person, Olivia. He should have seen it coming. Instead of a tearful wife begging for another chance, Olivia had walked away too calmly. Instead of collapsing under the weight of betrayal, she had vanished, only to resurface with a vengeance. Jason sat in his nearly empty office, his fists clenched on the desk. The very room that had once been bustling with energy now felt like a tomb. The headlines had been relentless. Jason Carter ousted from his own company. Ex-wife Olivia Carter takes over. Billionaire's mistress in crisis as stocks plummet. Power shift. How Olivia Carter outsmarted her husband and took everything. Every deal he had been working on was now under Olivia's name. Every client he had secured had been lured away by better offers from her. He dialed his lawyer for the 10th time that day. "Tell me you have something," he demanded. A sigh on the other end of the line. "Jason, Olivia had been planning this for months. The moment she suspected your affair, she started making silent moves." Jason's grip tightened around the phone. "She didn't just take half in the divorce," the lawyer continued. "She took everything, your shares, your liquid assets, your contracts. Hell, even your private jet is under her name now." Jason slammed his fist against the desk. "I built this empire. She was just a housewife." His lawyer hesitated. Olivia was the empire. She was handling the legal paperwork, the contracts, the negotiations. She just let you take the credit. Jason's stomach twisted. He had underestimated her. And now he was paying for it. Samantha leaned against the kitchen counter, her nails tapping against her wine glass. Jason had been acting distant, more than usual. He barely spoke to her, his frustration growing by the day. She had expected that after the scandal, but what she hadn't expected was how publicly humiliating Olivia's revenge would be. Samantha's name was plastered all over gossip sites. Karma hits hard. The mistress loses everything. Olivia Carter's best friend stabbed her in the back. Now she's paying the price. Every time she walked into a high-end restaurant, people whispered. Every time she scrolled through social media, she saw mocking comments under her pictures. Then the worst news hit. Her bank account, the one Jason had been funding, was suddenly frozen. She called the bank in a panic. "There must be some mistake," she said, voice shaking. "Ma'am," the banker said politely, "the accounts are tied to Mr. Carter's assets, and as of last week, those assets have been legally transferred to Olivia Carter." Samantha's blood ran cold. "Are you saying Olivia owns my money?" she asked in disbelief. The banker cleared his throat. "I'm saying there is no money left, Mississippi Carter. The accounts have been emptied." The line went dead, but the horror still rang in her ears. No money. No home. No security. She had chosen to betray Olivia for Jason. No. Jason had nothing left to offer her. A week later, Olivia sat in the VIP lounge of an exclusive gala, sipping champagne as she watched the city's most powerful people gather. She had won. Jason was a disgraced businessman, desperately trying to recover. Samantha was financially ruined, abandoned by the very man she had betrayed Olivia for. And Olivia? She was wealthier, more powerful, and more respected than ever before. A familiar voice broke her thoughts. Well, I always knew you had it in you." She turned to see David Monroe, a billionaire investor who had helped her secure Jason's downfall. Olivia smirked. "Did you doubt me?" "Not for a second," David chuckled, clinking his glass against hers. "So what's next for Olivia Carter?" She took a slow sip of her champagne. "Anything I want." And as Jason and Samantha watched from the shadows, their faces filled with regret and shame, Olivia knew she had done more than just win. She had destroyed them. And she had never felt more alive. Samantha stood outside an upscale restaurant, gripping her phone so tightly her fingers hurt. Jason wasn't answering. He had stopped calling, stopped texting, stopped caring. And now, for the first time since this disaster started, the sinking realization settled in. She had backed the wrong man. The man she had risked everything for was nothing without Olivia. The money? Gone. The luxury? Gone. The security? Gone. And now, Jason was avoiding her like she was just another mistake in his long list of failures. Samantha stormed toward his office building, her heels clicking against the pavement with urgency. But the moment she entered the lobby, the receptionist gave her an apologetic look. "Mr. Carter is no longer in charge here." Samantha's stomach dropped. "I know that," she snapped. "But I need to see him." The receptionist hesitated. Then, lowering her voice, she said, "Miss, Jason Carter no longer works here, or anywhere. His name has been blacklisted from nearly every major firm in the city." Samantha froze. Blacklisted? Her pulse pounded as she rushed out of the building. She called Jason again, this time straight to voicemail. She tried his apartment next, but when she arrived, the doorman shook his head. "He moved out last week. Couldn't afford the rent anymore." Samantha stumbled back in shock. He was homeless. The weight of it all hit her like a truck. Olivia had done more than just take Jason's company. She had made sure he had nowhere to run. And that meant Samantha had nowhere to run either. Panic clawed at her chest. She needed a way out. She needed to find Olivia. And beg. Jason sat in a dingy motel room, a half-empty bottle of whiskey on the nightstand beside him. This wasn't how his story was supposed to end. He was supposed to be untouchable, powerful, respected. Instead, he was nothing. His phone was filled with rejected calls from investors, old friends, people who once would have killed to be in his presence. No, they pretended they didn't even know him. And Samantha? He knew she was looking for him. Desperate for answers. Desperate for money. But she wasn't his problem anymore. He had made his choice. And now he had to live with it. Just then, a news alert flashed across his phone screen. Olivia Carter expands her empire. Becomes one of the top 10 wealthiest businesswomen in the country. Jason let out a bitter laugh. She had won. And worse. She had been planning this all along. The moment she found out about Samantha, she hadn't cried. She hadn't begged. She had destroyed him, methodically, mercilessly, like she had been waiting for the perfect moment to strike. And the worst part? He had handed her the knife himself. Samantha waited outside Olivia's office building, shifting uncomfortably as the minutes stretched into an hour. She had never begged for anything before. But this was survival. The glass doors finally slid open and Olivia Carter stepped out, dressed in an elegant ivory suit, her heels clicking against the pavement like a queen walking through her kingdom. Samantha sucked in a breath. Olivia. Olivia didn't stop walking. Olivia, please. Samantha rushed forward, desperation cracking in her voice. Just hear me out. Finally Olivia turned, her gaze cool and unimpressed. Samantha swallowed hard. I messed up, she admitted. I was stupid and selfish and I don't know what I was thinking. But I need your help. Olivia tilted her head. Pie help? Samantha nodded frantically. I have nothing, Olivia. No money, no place to stay. Jason abandoned me. Olivia's lips curled into a small, amused smirk. Let me get this straight, she said slowly, taking a step closer. You slept with my husband. Lied to me. Betrayed me. And now that he's ruined, you want me to save you. Samantha flinched. I wasn't thinking straight, Olivia. Olivia let out a short, sharp laugh. You were thinking straight, Samantha. You just didn't think I'd be the one to win. Samantha's throat tightened. I have nowhere else to go. Olivia's smile faded. And that's exactly what you deserve. Samantha's lip trembled. Olivia, please. But Olivia had already turned away, stepping into her sleek black car. Enjoy rock bottom, Samantha, she said just before the door shut. And then she was gone. Samantha stood there, frozen as the realization sank in. There would be no forgiveness. No second chances. She had betrayed the wrong woman. No. He would have to suffer alone. That evening Olivia Carter sat on the balcony of her penthouse, looking out over the city she now ruled. A slow, satisfied smile played on her lips. She had loved Jason once. She had trusted Samantha once. But that part of her was gone now. She had built something greater, an empire of her own. A life where she didn't need anyone to validate her worth. Her phone buzzed. David Monroe. Dinner tomorrow? I have another business proposal for you. Olivia smirked. She had spent years being the supporting character in Jason's life. Now, she was the main event. And there was nothing sweeter than revenge. The financial world was still reeling from Olivia Carter's meteoric rise. News outlets couldn't stop talking about her. The woman who beat Jason Carter at his own game. From betrayed wife to powerhouse CEO, Olivia Carter's revenge story. Olivia Carter named one of the most influential women in business. And Olivia? She was enjoying every second of it. As she sat in a sleek, high-end restaurant overlooking the city skyline, she sipped her cocktail, her presence commanding the attention of everyone in the room. Across from her, David Monroe, one of the most powerful investors in the country, studied her with admiration. You've done something incredible, Olivia, he said, swirling his whiskey. Most women in your situation would have fallen apart. Olivia smirked. Falling apart was never an option. David leaned forward, intrigued. So what's next? She placed her glass down, her eyes gleaming. Expansion. I want to take Carter Enterprises global. Make it something Jason never could. David chuckled. I like the way you think. She raised an eyebrow. I know. The waiter approached with the check, but before Olivia could reach for it, David slid his card across the table. Consider it an early investment, he said smoothly. Olivia tilted her head, her smirk deepening. Let Jason and Samantha think she was just seeking revenge. What she was really after. Domination. While Olivia celebrated her success, Jason was drowning in humiliation. His fall from grace had been swift and brutal. He had tried to get back into the business world, but no one would touch him. Olivia had burned every bridge, ensuring he'd never have a second chance. And now he sat in a cheap bar, surrounded by men he once would have looked down on. A man in a wrinkled suit sat next to him. You're Jason Carter, right? Jason nodded slowly, taking a sip of his cheap beer. The man chuckled. Damn. Heard your ex-wife really ked you over. Jason clenched his jaw. Something like that. The man shook his head. You should have seen it coming, man. A woman like that. You don't cheat on her. You worship her. Jason's stomach twisted. The worst part. The guy was right. He had underestimated Olivia and now he had nothing left. The bartender slid over Jason's bill. $23.50. Jason reached into his wallet and froze. He didn't even have enough to pay for his own drink. The bartender raised an eyebrow. You good? Jason let out a hollow laugh. No. He wasn't good. He was ruined. And it was all his fault. Samantha sat in the dark, scrolling through her phone, desperately searching for any opportunity to escape the mess she had created. Her once perfect life was gone. Jason, useless. Her reputation, destroyed. Her money, stolen. She had no friends left. No rich men to run to. No Olivia to save her. Her rent was past due and soon she wouldn't even have a place to live. With trembling fingers she typed out a message to the one person who could fix this. Olivia, please. I know I don't deserve your help but I have nothing. Can we talk? She stared at the screen praying for a response. Seconds turned into minutes. Then 3 dots appeared. Her heart pounded. Maybe Olivia had forgiven her. Maybe she still had a chance. Then the dots disappeared. And a single message popped up. You made your bed. Now lie in it. Samantha let out a strangled sob, realizing the truth. Olivia Carter was never going to save her. And this time she was truly alone. 2 weeks later, Olivia sat at her desk, flipping through a fresh set of contracts. A knock sounded at her door. Her assistant stepped in, looking slightly amused. Miss Carter, you have a visitor. Olivia raised an eyebrow. I don't take unscheduled meetings. The assistant smirked. I think you'll want to see this one. Olivia sighed. Send them in. A moment later the door opened, and Jason Carter stepped inside. He barely recognized him. He looked exhausted, his once pristine suits replaced with cheap fabric. His confidence, gone. His arrogance, dead. For a moment Olivia simply stared at him, letting the weight of his downfall settle in. Finally she leaned back in her chair, arms crossed. To what do I owe this unexpected visit? Jason swallowed, looking embarrassed. Olivia, I need help. A slow, satisfied smirk curled on her lips. She tilted her head. You need my help? Jason exhaled. I was an idiot. I should have never hurt you. I lost everything, Olivia. My business, my money, my reputation. I can't get a job. No one will even talk to me. She took a sip of her coffee, thoroughly enjoying this moment. And why, she mused, should I care? Jason flinched. Because you loved me once. Olivia let out a small, amused chuckle. Oh, Jason, she sighed. I did love you. But the thing about love. She leaned in, her eyes cold. It dies when you betray it. Jason's shoulders slumped. So that's it, he whispered. She tapped her manicured fingers against the desk. I could help you, she said thoughtfully. But where would the fun be in that? Jason's face crumbled. And in that moment Olivia knew he finally understood what he had done. She stood up, walking to the door and holding it open. Goodbye, Jason. Jason hesitated, his pride fighting against the humiliation. But there was nothing left for him here. With a defeated nod, he turned and walked away. And as Olivia shut the door behind him, a deep satisfaction settled in her chest. Jason had thought he was the king. But he had never been. She was. No. She ruled alone. Jason Carter used to be a name that commanded respect. No. He was nothing more than a cautionary tale. After his humiliating visit to Olivia's office, he had tried one last time to recover. He had applied for jobs, reached out to old contacts, even considered starting from scratch. But Olivia had made sure that every door remained firmly shut. His reputation, destroyed. His power, stripped away. His existence, irrelevant. The final blow came when he saw Olivia and David Monroe on the cover of Forbes magazine, smiling confidently under the bold headline. Carter Enterprises expands worldwide, under new leadership. Not his leadership. Hers. Jason slammed the magazine onto the counter, swallowing the bitter taste of regret. There was no coming back from this. He had lost everything. And the worst part? He deserved it. Samantha was drowning. Evicted from her apartment. Cut off from every luxury she had once flaunted. Shunned from the social circles she once thrived in. She had spent the last few weeks trying to crawl her way back into high society. But nobody wanted the woman who had been publicly humiliated by Olivia Carter. With no other options, she did the only thing she could think of. She showed up at Olivia's penthouse. Drenched from the rain, makeup smudged, pathetic. When the butler opened the door, his polite but firm voice made it clear. "Mrs. Carter has no interest in seeing you." Samantha's heart shattered. She had lost. Not just the money. Not just the reputation. She had lost the only true friend she ever had. And that was the greatest punishment of all. Olivia Carter had everything now. Wealth, power, respect. She had taken the pain of betrayal and turned it into an empire. But tonight was about celebration. As she sat in a candlelit rooftop restaurant, sipping wine, David Monroe watched her with a smirk. "You really did it, Olivia," he mused. "You didn't just win. You annihilated them." She leaned back, taking in the view of the city that she now ruled. "It wasn't just about revenge," she said, swirling her wine. "It was about proving that I never needed them to begin with." David chuckled. "So what's next?" Olivia smirked. "Everything." She raised her glass and David clinked his against hers. As the city lights sparkled below, Olivia Carter knew one thing for certain. She wasn't just a woman scorned. She was a woman reborn. And this was only the beginning. Jason's POV. "I used to wake up to polished marble floors and the scent of imported espresso drifting from the kitchen. Olivia always made it just right, 2 shots, no sugar. He said I liked it bitter because it matched my ambition. Now, I wake up to the sour stench of mildew, half a stale sandwich on the floor, and a leaky faucet that never stops dripping. Drip, drip, drip. Like time mocking me. I'm not even sure what day it is anymore. But I know what I've lost. And I know exactly who took it from me. Olivia. Oh, Olivia Carter, CEO, powerhouse, Forbes cover star. My ex-wife. The woman I betrayed. The woman who took everything and left me with nothing but my own reflection. And I can't stand the sight of it anymore. The headlines still haunt me. From betrayed wife to billionaire CEO, Olivia Carter's ruthless rise. Jason Carter blacklisted from every major investment firm. Revenge served cold. Olivia Carter destroys ex-husband's empire in 30 days. People read it like it's some empowering fiction. Some modern fairy tale. But for me, it's a slow, suffocating death. I used to be the headline. The man behind the empire. The one they quoted at tech conferences and photographed at charity galas. Now I'm the cautionary tale. The idiot who cheated on a queen. The fool who gave her the keys to the kingdom, and laughed when she handed me a noose in return. I didn't see it then. Not when she walked in and caught me with Samantha. Not when she smiled and left without a word. Not even when she signed the divorce papers without contest. I thought I had won. I thought her silence meant surrender. But it wasn't silence. It was strategy. It was precision. And God help me, it was beautiful. She dismantled me piece by piece. Not in anger, not in pettiness, but with the grace of a woman who knew exactly what she was doing. And that's what hurts the most. She didn't destroy me because she lost control. She destroyed me because she regained it. I sit on this motel bed every night, scrolling through my old life. The photos. The accolades. The woman who stood beside me at every gala, every launch, every board meeting, always 2 steps behind so I could shine. But she wasn't behind me. She was beneath me, holding the whole damn thing up. The company I claimed to have built? Olivia negotiated the first seed funding while I schmoozed clients over cigars. The contracts I bragged about landing? Olivia drafted every clause, closed every loophole. She was the foundation. And when I kicked her out, everything collapsed. I remember the day I tried to crawl back. I wore my best suit, though by then the cuffs were fraying and the fabric smelled faintly of desperation. I walked into her office hoping for mercy. She didn't offer any. She didn't need to. One glance at her, polished, powerful, perfectly composed, and I knew. I was nothing to her now. Just a chapter she had closed. A mistake she had corrected. And when I asked her for help, she laughed. Not cruelly. Not mockingly. Just amused. Like I was a joke that had finally told itself. "You need my help?" she had said, tilting her head. How poetic. That line still burns. Because I did. I do. Samantha's gone now. Left a week ago after the money dried up and the whispers got louder. She blamed me for everything. She wasn't wrong. But she wasn't innocent either. We made our choice together thinking Olivia was weak. That she'd shatter and fade. Instead she sharpened. And rose. While we fell like dead weight. I visited my old building once. Carter Enterprises. Correction. Olivia's Carter Enterprises now. The receptionist didn't even recognize me. Security was called before I got past the elevators. As they escorted me out, I looked up and saw her face on the digital banner outside. Smiling, radiant, holding a glass of champagne next to that billionaire David Monroe. They called them the power duo of the decade. No mention of me. No footnote. Not even a punchline. Just erased. People used to fear me. Now they pity me. A man at the bar last night leaned over and said, "You're Jason Carter, right?" I nodded, expecting some kind of sympathy. Instead he chuckled and said, "Damn. Your ex-wife wrecked you. Should have kept her happy. And you know what? He's right. But it's not about keeping her happy. It's about valuing her. I saw her as an accessory. A background character in my story. Turns out I was the filler in hers. He was the plot twist. The storm. The hand that fed me, and the one that took everything back when I bit it. Now every minute stretches into a lifetime. I lie awake at night, staring at the cracked ceiling, replaying every moment. The way Olivia used to look at me. Like I was her world. The way she used to fight for me, protect me, build with me. And how easily I discarded that. For cheap thrills and whispered secrets in Samantha's penthouse. I traded gold for glitter. And glitter fades fast. I think I'm starting to understand what loss really is. It's not just the money. The job. The reputation. It's walking past a coffee shop and remembering how she always added cinnamon to my drink, even when I swore I hated it. It's catching the scent of her perfume on someone else and freezing, because for a second I forget that she's not mine anymore. It's knowing she loved me fully and I gave her half in return. Well, less than half. I gave her betrayal. And she gave me consequences. Some nights I think about calling her. Just to hear her voice. Just to say, "I'm sorry," and maybe hear that she doesn't hate me. But I know what she'd say. She'd remind me that sorry isn't a refund. That regret is currency only the broken cling to. And I am very, very broken. People say revenge doesn't fix anything. But in Olivia's case, it built an empire. She didn't just move on. She moved up. She didn't just survive the betrayal. She made it the launchpad for a legacy. Me. I'm the lesson parents whisper to their ambitious daughters. Don't be like Olivia Carter's ex. He thought he could dim a star and still keep the sky. I used to be somebody. Now I'm just the man who betrayed the wrong woman. And every day I live with that truth pressing on my chest like a weight that never lifts. Not when I wake. Not when I sleep. Not when I breathe. This is what it feels like. To hand someone the knife and watch them carve out your legacy. And damn it. He was right to do it. The